Hey everyone, and welcome. Happy Wednesday. We've got an exciting live stream for you today. We have an amazing guest, Debbie, who has been on my channel, I think multiple times before. I have lost count. And every time it is really exciting, a little bit nerve-wracking for me because she always teases me and makes, embarrasses me. But please, Debbie, don't do it this time. But Debbie's from Microsoft. She's on the Playwright automated testing team, but I'm not going to do her justice. So please, Debbie, introduce yourself.
Thank you, Eddie. No, I'm actually a really nice person. I just like to bully Eddie because it's fun. But yes, my name is Debbie, and I live in Mallorca. It's a beautiful, sunny place to live. So, and yeah, you'll normally see me out like doing loads of sport and stuff. But I had twins 7 months ago, so my sport is kind of limited to my garage. But I'm still doing my sport. It's really important to do sport. I really encourage people who are in tech to not just sit at a computer all day. So seriously, get out there and do stuff. And yeah, I work in Microsoft. Basically, I actually work in the developer division team, but like my focus is on Playwright. So I work very closely with the Playwright team and making sure that the community knows about Playwright. We build up the community and everything to do with open source. Eddie, you know how much I love open source, how much you love open source. I come from a very open source background. I'm very lucky to be working in open source. I think 4 to 5 years now. Like, so it's really cool. I get paid to do open source. Like that's the cool thing. I love it.
Me too. It's the best way, right? You get to do what you absolutely love doing and geek out with people, and it's just awesome. So hopefully more and more people will get into open source and find a job that they love doing. So it's great. Our live streams are always fun, Debbie. I do really enjoy them. I always learn so much, and every time we do these, I learn more about Playwright. So for those of you who don't know what Playwright is, I'm going to do it probably not so much justice, but in a nutshell, it's automated testing, but I like to call it automated testing on steroids because you can just do so much with it. I remember when we first did our first live stream, I thought it recorded a video of it during the test because it performs a test as a user and it clicks on the buttons and fills in forms. And I remember when the test failed, I thought I got a video because I could actually see it happening. And then it wasn't a video. It was actually the web browser as it was in that state. And I could go and inspect it and all those great things that you do. And so my mind was like it was very, very cool. And there were also other awesome tools like you had a VS Code plugin, and there was, oh my God, there was just so many things, which we'll go through today. Well, Debbie will show some of them to us. We are going to set this up from scratch on a new project. So shall I go through the project? What do you think, Debbie? Or do you want to add a bit more about what Playwright does?
Yeah, I'm just going to like take it back a step for those that are coming into this stream and like I've never done testing, right? There's probably a lot of people out there. And like, what is testing? Why do we test? And who should test, right? I think this is now changing in the scope of things, right? Before, some companies had the whole test automation team. They might still do, or you might be working on a smaller company, or you might now be taking over the testing as a developer. So I think more developers are moving into the testing scene. Now, what is automation testing compared to normal testing, right? Now, the difference is that like one of the teams I worked on, one of the companies I worked for, I think about not that long ago, maybe 8 years ago, more or less, 9 years, maybe 10 years ago. But anyway, we would test on a Friday. And how we would test was basically we would push everything into production and everyone would just take 2 hours off and just use the website as a user would. And then we would file bugs and then we would fix them. Testing done. Right?
Those scary days.
Those scary days. But some companies are still doing that. Some people are still doing that. That's the problem. So we have moved further away from that to the fact that a computer is faster than a person and a computer can like remember all the things. Imagine filling out a form every time that you want to test that website. Every time you make a change, you're going to fill out that form and there's 20 things to fill out. Now, you're going to be slow. You're going to put the name, the email address, blah, blah. And then you found a bug. Then you're going to go back and you do it all again. And automating that process. So the computer fills all that in, makes it super fast. And that's what Playwright is very, very good at, making things move faster so that you're not spending the time doing manually testing something that you shouldn't need to manually test. And there are ways for manual testers to do a good job that still exists, and that's fine. But we should be getting developers to test their code on the UI level. So the code that you see, not the actual code, but the actual, like, what does the user see on the website? Playwright is like a fast user of your website and makes sure that everything works as it should.
I love that. And I think, so many great examples there. I'm just going to add one more example about, you talked about filling in that form, and that's so true. And it's not just about filling in the form once or twice. It's about filling all the different conditions. So if we take a login form, for example, everyone watching now, how many tests do you think you'll have for a login form? Does it work? As in, can you put in an email address and a correct password and do you log in? I mean, that's one test, but you're actually probably going to have 3 or 4 more tests that do all the negative conditions. What happens if you get the password wrong? What happens if you get the email wrong? What happens if you don't put in an email address? What happens if the account doesn't exist? And there's just all these different combinations. And like Debbie was saying, to try each one, every time you make a little tweak, it's going to take you a lot of time and it's going to get very annoying. If you could automate that, make a change, run the test, and the test would run as a user, as in it would load up a browser and click and point and type things in the form. It just saves so much time and gives us the confidence that everything is working well. So many great points there, Debbie. Thank you so much. And I see we have a few more people joining as well. So Praduma, thank you so much for being first. Awesome to have you here. Praduma says that they're scared of testing. I think we all are. That's why a lot of people don't do it, which is even worse. It's like, oh, I'm not going to wear my seatbelt because I'm scared I'm going to get into an accident. It's like, well, maybe you should wear your seatbelt to, if anything unfortunately does happen, at least it's a bit better. So I think
people are scared of things that they don't know how to do well.
That's true.
So if you're scared of something, then maybe you need to just do a little bit more learning, a little bit more playing around, a little bit more doing, and then you won't be scared.
Exactly. And we've also got Carl, who's joined us as well. Great to have you here, Carl. Carl's done a lot of automated testing on the EduHub projects as well with us. And Tajil, hopefully I pronounced your name right. Testing means applications should work as intended and also as not intended in terms of the boundary conditions. Do they fail as they're meant to? Do you get those error messages that you're meant to? And as Debbie said, it's, we're scared of things that we don't know how to do. And it's actually not that scary, I don't think. I mean, it can be fun as well, I think. I don't know. What do you think, Debbie? I think it could be fun.
Testing was not fun 10 years ago, right? And when we started to do testing and, brought it into like the companies and stuff, and you've got a really bad user base, testing can be horrible. But now that we have things like Playwright, and I'm going to say Playwright, but there are other, ways of testing that are fun. But Playwright is definitely made testing easy, which I think is really, really important. And has made it fun because it's taken that hard work away from you, that thinking process. And we're kind of going into a low code kind of scenario, right? You've got GitHub Copilot that helps you code, and we've got CodeGen in Playwright that helps you code. So it's helping you write that test. It's giving you a starting point. So then, you can get started easily. And then after that, you do need to do a little bit of research and read the docs and study a little bit and learn a little bit to kind of go that bit further. But definitely, testing is I enjoy it. I like it because I like finding things that don't work and then fixing them, and tests help me find those things that you wouldn't normally find.
It's true. I mean, I love writing something, and you're writing tests for something, and then you write it, and you think of all these different scenarios, and you end up having quite a few tests. Like you said, you find little kind of ways. Like, can someone manipulate the URL to get to something they shouldn't? And you can have a test for that to make sure there is a redirect to protect that data and that page. And it's just, so many things. And on that note, Carl mentions one of the pain points is testing authentication. So I think to test is a page protected is one of the easier ones, but to mock out the user as a member or maybe as an admin, it becomes a bit more challenging. We have got a part 2 on this live stream. I don't know, Debbie, I don't think knows about this, but I will be doing a live stream with Amanda. So let's get you're off the hook, Debbie.
Not going to do an authentication live stream that I don't know anything about. Great.
It is authentication. There isn't a lot of code to make it work, but it's just doing it is quite scary. And Amanda and Dan from the EduHub community did that for BioDrop. And it wasn't a lot of code to do it, but you need to kind of configure it and mock out the user and write some things to the database and so forth. And they achieved that. And it worked really, really well. So we could, on the Playwright test, say kind of, log in as a guest, as a member, as an admin, and it took care of all of that. And so I will have a part 2 live stream in a couple of weeks with Amanda and Dan will be in the audience supporting as well, and we'll go through that. So they'll be building on top of what we do here today. But today we will be doing the setup of the project, the generating. I completely forgot about generating the test as well. So I remember Debbie showed me that last time as well. So again, just these things that we just forget about. So it makes our lives a lot easier, at least to get started. And Carl mentions there are QA teams out there still using spreadsheets. Yeah, we avoid those projects, or we try and educate them there is a lot of automation that can be done. Yes. So I don't know if Debbie you want to answer this. I've got some thoughts on this one about mocking a user in E2E testing. It should be as close as the real user as possible. I've got some thoughts on this, but I don't know if you want to share anything.
I think it depends. It really depends on your use case and on how you're doing authentication and stuff. Sometimes it's like you just want to like get to the authenticated user and test out that, because that scenario is important. Maybe you're using, I don't know, Google to authenticate. So you don't need to test that Google authenticates, because Google knows how to do their job. They're already testing that, right? So you're not testing that. You're just testing what happens when you get past that gate.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I've worked on projects where they do want to check the integration. And so we usually have like one test that might actually do that, but it's not going to perform on every test, because otherwise you're kind of almost load testing Google, and that's no fun for anyone. So yes, so there might be one test to check the integration, but then to check our app, we will just mock out the user that we want. So we know the integration works, and then we can just test our app as it is. But it's a great question, and I think there is a lot of confusion and discussions around this as well. I think it's quite a great area, so I'm quite keen to bring more awareness to this as well. So I will write a blog post on setting this up and what we do in this live stream today. Yes, I think it's important for there to be some more evergreen content out there about this. So I will be rewatching this live stream quite a few times. So these questions are great, so keep them coming. Carl, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Okay, Debbie, shall we get coding? I'm getting hot now. It's getting warm, coding, going to get serious.
Oh my God, the jacket's off.
Jacket's off. I always put a jacket on because I think I'm in England where I get cold, but no, it's Portugal. It's hot. So Paduma brings up a really good point. If a test goes green first time, there's something wrong. Exactly. I think that's why test-driven development is so important, because you want it to be red first, right? Oh, Debbie's
see, I don't do that.
Okay.
I don't do that. Yeah. I don't, not with the way we use Playwright, right? Because we're testing it out as a user. So if you've got the code working, then really everything should work. Everything should always be green, unless you're specifically testing some edge case, and you want to like, but then you're going into like, make it red, and then like, I can't do that. I can't make something fail and then make it work. That my brain doesn't work like that. I make my code work. My website works. I have a form. The form works, and then I want to test it. And that's when I find, oh, like those edge cases. What if a user typed this? What if they didn't put the @sign in the email address? What would you do then? So then you're kind of like looking for those edge cases as you test out your website. But in general, I like the green. I'm a green checkmark person. I don't like to see red. If I see red, I go mad.
True. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. You're right. I think in TDD, when we're doing unit testing, we do want it to be red first. But you're right. We're testing this as a user, and it needs to be there to begin with. So let me take everyone through the app. Debbie included. Debbie has not seen the app yet, so let me take everyone through it. And if anyone wants to follow Debbie, there is Debbie's link in the description below. And when Debbie does a bit of coding, I will drop also some links in the chat as well. But the links are in the description below. Do go follow Debbie. Okay, so the app. This is what we've got so far. A lot of it is kind of hard-coded at the moment, and I'll explain why. We only started this on a live stream on Sunday, so it's very, very new. So this is the homepage, and it's static content, but we will test it. The homepage loads, I think. We're not going to get into just doing it right now. We'll do it in a few minutes as I walk through. But Debbie, if you notice anything, that would be good to test, then just maybe mention it now so people can start thinking about it. And what would you test anything on the homepage? Like maybe some text appears or anything in particular?
I mean, what's important to you on this homepage? What do you want people to do? So maybe the text is important, that they need to see GitHub repo, right? Maybe they don't. But that's up to you. So you got to like think, what is the most important thing here? Just looking at this from an external viewpoint, I would say the menu here, we've got home, we've got add, and we've got repos, right? You want someone to click that.
Yes,
right?
True.
You've also got, is it Flagsmith?
Yes, so Flagsmith are sponsoring this project. So yes, so
right, exactly, and it's visit their website. So you want to make sure that you're actually that.
Yes.
You don't want to be always kind of like hidden their website. You want to make sure you can go to their website, but you also want to make sure that button is visible, because the way you've designed this is really cool. You've got a banner that's coming down. So just under that is this search bar, right? And on my screen, I can see that. But if your CSS is bad, your
Right.
top bar could be covering the search. So we want to test that that search bar is also visible and you can search the page. So that's what you kind of want to look at, because you've got this perfect website and it looks great for you. But what if I take that to a mobile device? What if I take that to a
True.
different, width of the screen? Can I see everything the way you're seeing it? So that's what we want to test as well.
That's a great point. Just full disclaimer that the search is disabled. It doesn't actually do anything. Right? So that's just a placeholder for later. So, but you're absolutely right. Like, does this button appear, and does it actually link to their website and open in a new tab and stuff like that? So, such a great point, because if that doesn't work, then the kind of banner is effectively useless. And same with the navigation. I would like to also check that the GitHub goes to the repo as well underneath too.
I couldn't really see the footer because in StreamYard I've got like
yes, we're covering it. Great point. Thank you for mentioning that. I will move us over to the side for a second.
Oh, that's better. That's better.
And we've got a version number, which I think is important to display, but maybe not urgent, but it's just nice to have. So when someone takes a screenshot, and if they say we've got a bug, I can see the version number that they're running. So yes, we'll ignore search for this for the moment because it doesn't work. We've also, there's a few other things that don't work. So we've got add. This is to add your repo. This is where you would paste in your GitHub repo. And these buttons are disabled at the moment. They're for future kind of ideas. Is my repo trending and so forth. But also, full disclaimer, whatever repo you put in, it's a hard-coded repo. So it doesn't really matter what we put in, but it does if it's not a URL. So if I say put in this, we should get an error. Yes, so invalid URL.
You want to test that error is
visible. Exactly. And so if I paste in a correct URL and hit save, now it goes on to this page.
That's nice.
And this page is real. So just to kind of give a bit of background, we don't make a call yet to the GitHub API because I found I would quickly hit a rate limit. So I've actually hard coded in the page the JSON return from GitHub. So that's kind of real but fake. And then these calculations are being done on the data. So default branch is not main, so we get a warning. So that is correct, and it is checking it on the GitHub JSON, if that makes sense. So these checks are real, and we've got about 20 more to add at the moment. And I did a tweet just before the live stream, try and get people to see what other checks we could do on people's repos to make sure it is set up correctly. So that's the idea of the project. And the activity here, we've got an error on BioDrop because we archived the project back in I think it was February, or 152 days ago. So it's not an active project, so that's an error. So these like I said, these data points are actually real. So that's what we've got so far. That's all of it. Oh, and one last thing. This will go to the repo that you're viewing, but it'll always be BioDrop because it's hard coded. But it doesn't open a new tab. So we've got a bug there straight away. That's the project. So where would you like to start, Debbie?
What does the repos link do?
This one.
No, the other one in the menu.
Oh, yes, this one. So, good question. That was a test. I was testing Debbie. I didn't forget about it. That will show, these are hard coded, but that will show the repos that are listed from the ad. So when you hit save, it goes to the repo detail page, like the report. But if you click on repos, it goes to the list of repos that were submitted. But these are hard coded, and whichever one you click on, it will always go back to this BioDrop one for the moment.
So you want to test that actual flow of someone putting it in, and then where they go to next, and that is then on that page as well. So that you want to think of like the user flow, not just test one thing and done.
That's true. Great point. Yeah, I think that's good. I think we've got a couple of user flows, I guess. We've got one would be going to the repos page and picking a repo and making sure we go to the right repo. In this case, it won't. It will always have the same value. But in the future, when I put a back end to this, it will go to the relevant repo and have in the top an ID. But I will update that test, I think, later on. But we've got the skeleton of the flow, and then yes, it will be the ad, submitting it, and then going straight to the details page, which we'll have some tests for as well. And I'll be interested to see how Debbie thinks where we should start and what we should do first and second and third and stuff like that.
Okay, no pressure. Okay, so let's look at your app first of all. Look at the
Okay.
code, right? So,
Yep.
um, I'm basically looking at it. It's pretty. I don't see Playwright installed.
No, that's correct. If I bring
God, so
package
there's where
open,
we need to start. Come
we haven't
on.
got it installed. Okay, let me. I want to go to bring up the docs, but I'm sure Debbie knows it off the top of her head. Done this
Well,
many times before, probably.
there's a couple of questions. So, do you
Okay.
want to install using the CLI, or do you want to install using the VS Code extension? Are you a VS Code fan and like using extensions, or do you like a terminal hardcore? I want to CLI everything.
I'm probably the worst person to ask that because I want both. I want my
Yeah.
cake and I want to eat it. I want both.
You can
So,
always have both.
okay, good.
So it doesn't matter. You can install with the CLI and then use the VS Code extension, or you can install with the VS Code extension and then use the CLI. Totally cool. So
Can we start with the CLI and then
okay,
we go to the extension? Does
cool.
that
Let's
work?
do that then. Yep.
Okay.
So you're on the right docs page.
Okay. So it's the first docs page I went to, so that's a good sign. I clicked on docs up here. If anyone's following along, let me drop a link in the chat as well. For everyone following along now or later, because this video will stay on my YouTube channel. Okay, and then I'm going to do what I always do and copy this. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah,
good.
You don't read the docs, you just copy the first code block you find.
Yes.
And then you just press enter and you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, you just hope it works. And if it fails, then you're like, oh. So yeah, exactly right. And you only read the docs if it breaks. If I get an error, then I'll read the docs.
Yeah. So you've got some questions here, right?
Okay.
So before you click enter, I'm going to ask you, don't choose, just ask you, would you use TypeScript or JavaScript? What would your first initial thought be here?
I would use whatever the project is using. So I love TypeScript, but a lot of the AD Hub projects we use JavaScript, and this project is JavaScript. So for this one, I would select JavaScript.
Wrong answer.
Okay.
So you don't have to be with what your tests do not have to be the same as what your code is. So it doesn't really matter. But for your test, it doesn't mean you're going to be writing types in and all your test. It just means you're going to get all that, like what TypeScript gives you. You're going to get all that type extra information that you don't normally get with JavaScript. So we say use TypeScript first. If you're really, really afraid to use TypeScript, just use JavaScript. Totally fine. Maybe you don't have a compiler set up. I don't know, whatever. But TypeScript, you're going to gain more than you will with JavaScript. So I would say always use TypeScript for Playwright tests. It's just JavaScript, but you're getting all the extras.
Okay, so if you're confident with that, we're going to hit TypeScript. Everyone, for the record, I'm trusting Debbie. Let's go. TypeScript.
Okay, next question. Where to put your end-to-end tests?
Tests, I think, is always a good one.
Yeah, so this is only for cases like where you have maybe some unit tests already set up with a test folder, well, then you maybe want to put E2E and do something different. But yeah, tests, go for it.
Let's do it. Oh, this is new. Add a GitHub action workflow. Yes, please. Can I type yes?
Yeah, of course. Yes. We don't do this by default because not everyone is using GitHub. So it's kind of like just to, not be shoving GitHub down your throat, even though we love GitHub. It's like, not everyone is. So I would always say yes, because you're generally most developers using GitHub. But if you're in a company enterprise, you probably might not be. Maybe you are, and then you might not want that workflow. So that's why we default to false. But yeah, always do true.
That makes sense. Makes sense. Playwright browsers. Yes, I think yes.
Yes, because what it does is Playwright installs browsers onto your machine, like browser binaries, really, right? So that means that you're able to run your tests on those browsers without actually even having those browsers installed on your computer. So, for example, you might not have Firefox installed on your computer, but you can still run your test against Firefox because Playwright has installed that for you. And it's always installing like the latest browser that's built in with the latest version of Playwright. So maybe you have an old version of Chrome on your computer that you haven't updated for, I don't know, 6 months, right?
That's me.
Yeah, and that's really bad because things have changed in the browser. Chrome gets updated every month. So we update as well to be online with those browser updates. So yeah.
Okay.
You have to install the browsers, otherwise you're going to have to do it manually. So just do yes.
I think I hit enter. Did I hit enter in the wrong window? Oh, yeah, I did. I had the wrong window selected. My bad. Okay, we got some magic happening. Okay.
So there you can see it's installing those browsers. downloading the browsers. It's already written some of those files. So you can see we're writing the Playwright config file, the GitHub workflow, the test examples folder, and the package JSON. And now it's just doing all that browser stuff, Playwright Chrome, downloading Firefox, as you can see.
Nice.
And it doesn't matter if you're on a Windows, if you're on a Mac, you've got Safari as well. That's going to be downloaded. There you go, WebKit.
Very nice. Oh, yes, you're right. It doesn't matter what operating system you're on. It will just take care of it and get the right ones.
There you go. We're done.
And here we go. So we've got some instructions. I love it when they give you some instructions on what to do next. So it runs the tests, which I highly recommend. I know we haven't written any tests, but I did see some examples come up. So I guess it's good just to run it, make sure it works. It might not be testing our app yet.
Exactly. You can test against the example test that's there. If you want to see how Playwright works, you can just literally copy that command and put it in the terminal and see what happens.
Let's do it.
Blind-driven development.
I love that. Shh, don't tell anyone that. That's what I do.
Sorry.
Okay, it looks like it's going to run Firefox and it's going to run the example spec, which we'll have a look at in a minute as well. So anyone wondering what's going on, we will have a look at that. It looks like there is starts interactive UI. Oh, I need to copy and paste that one straight away afterwards. So 6 tests passed, and it did it headless, if I understand correctly, Debbie. So therefore, it did run it on a real browser, but it wasn't visually displayed.
Exactly. We didn't open up the browser. We didn't see anything. It just ran in the background, just like it would run on your CLI, right? It's not visually seeing the browser. And you've got 6 tests there were passed. And if we do open that example file, how many tests are there?
Let me see, bring this down. We have 2.
Right. So why is there 6 tests have passed?
Oh, good question. Debbie's going to be testing me again.
It's,
oh, I know
wrong
why.
answer.
It's not a trap. It's not a trap. I know why. Because there were 3 browsers.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go. 2 tests on 3 browsers. Exactly. So you can see how quickly it ran 2 tests on 3 browsers really, really fast, right? When the 3 browsers just popped up, you didn't see them because it was headless. They didn't pop up, but that's what it did. And it's using 4 workers. Why 4 workers?
So you can do them in parallel?
Yeah, and because of your CPU, so if you're doing this at home and following along, you might only have 2 workers because Eddie has a really good computer.
I have a very old computer. I need to change it.
So it depends on what's available on your computer
see.
at that time, right? What resources it can use. So you might get 2 workers, you might get 6 workers, you might get 4. It all depends on your CPU.
Got you. Okay, that makes sense. So it's even clever. It even determines the most optimum one, which I think is great. So I don't have to think that, oh, there was a report. Can I open the report?
Yeah, go for it.
And then I want to run that UI command. Don't know what it does, but I want to run it. Okay, let's open the report. Okay, we got a report. So you're right. So we've got Chromium, 2 in Chromium, 2 in Firefox, and 2 in WebKit. And we can filter. And let's has a title, and we open it. Before hooks, after hooks. Anything in the report that you want to highlight?
I think, yeah, this one just basically goes through so that you don't change the link. So you got the page go to, so you're going to that specific page.
Debbie saw me hovering the button.
Like, don't press that button. And then you've got the locator get by role link. So if we look at, if you've ever used testing library, for example, you'll know what this is kind of about. We're doing a kind of accessible user roles first. So like get by a role link, that's more accessible. We want to see that it's a link, it's an accessible link, not a button, not a whatever. And the name should be get started, and then we're clicking it, and then we're expecting something to be visible, right? And then the after hooks is just the cleanup kind of thing of the browser and stuff. So you could expand it as well if you wanted to, and you're just seeing the page and the context. They get closed. So it's like your test then is finished, right? It's like everything stays in isolation, so nothing is going to go in. The next test is not dependent on the first test. Nothing goes between one and the other.
Makes sense. Okay, looks good. Looks good. And we've got the different browsers as well, but I'm guessing the results are going to be very similar in this case. I mean, if we write one of our tests, we might get different results, but this is testing something that is guaranteed to pass, I'm guessing.
Well, we'll find out soon, won't we?
Okay, so I'm going to close that for now, and I'm going to stop this running. And then can I run the other UI command? I don't
Yeah,
know what
go
it
for
does, but I really want to run it. It says UI in it, and it's just interactive. I'm like, yeah, I just want to run it.
it.
Okay, let me run it. Here we go. I actually don't know what's going to happen. Oh, this is the thing you showed me last time. This is so cool.
Well, I don't know if I showed you this the last time, did I?
You did. It looks a bit different, but I think I saw this because I thought this was the video. So if I went, there's a play button. It's a bit different. But I remember hovering across the timeline, and I thought that was a timeline of a video, but it actually wasn't. It was the browser each state, and that's what I was just like.
Okay, so you want to if you want like you need to zoom in a little bit.
Sorry.
I'm like, I need to put magnifying glasses on.
No, sorry, I'm on a 5K monitor.
Yeah, all right.
Let me make it full screen as well. Maybe that will help.
So this is the UI mode, which is basically you would want this open while you're running your tests, while you're building your tests, because it's basically interactive mode. So as you can see there, you've got a play button. So go ahead and press play.
Yes, I was itching to press it. Debbie knows me too well. Okay, I hit play. Let's go.
So it's running all the tests because you ran the green button at the top, and that ran all the tests, which is 2 tests, right? Now we're just running them on the Chromium browser because that's what we have selected. You could change that, and you could add other browsers if you wanted to. So here we've got like our actions, every single action that happens. So if you hover over those actions, Eddie, over not the tests titles, exactly,
Okay.
and you can see what's happening in the snapshot on the right. So I'm saying my right is probably left on the other computer. But basically, yeah, you can see locator.click, get by link name, get started. You see the little red dot on the get started link?
Where's the red dot?
In the actual browser window that's kind of inside built.
Oh yes. I see it. It's when I move off it goes. Here we go. This red dot here.
Exactly. So that's that's Playwright clicking. That's where it clicked. So if there was something wrong and you couldn't figure out why, you could find out maybe that red dot was hidden under a banner or something, and that's why I couldn't click it, etc. So you can see kind of what's going on, and you can always go to the action before and after as well. What happened before that? What happened after that? Can you see the action before and after just above the DOM snapshot?
DOM snapshot. Oh yeah, before and after. Yes,
yeah.
Sorry, yes.
So you got before the page loaded, and after you got,
So let me click on this one and do before.
Got you. After, so you can kind of really see what happened, between those. And this is I'm saying DOM snapshot. Do you understand what a DOM snapshot is, Eddie?
I do, but it took me a moment because I was looking for the before and after. But yes, the actual HTML DOM, which if I remember correctly, and I'm jumping ahead here, is I can inspect it as well.
Well, I would say before you even do that, see, jumping ahead, click on the little kind of button, the little square with a little arrow on the top right.
Oh yeah,
that's just going to pop it out to another window. So then you can kind of like, really play around with that. You've got it on really small there, but that's why it's showing mobile version. But if you put that the same width, exactly, and then you can open the HTML inspect as you would normally do. This is just the Chromium browser, and you're inspecting it as you would your dev tools, but you're inspecting something of your test in that moment in time, right? So really good for CSS debugging as well, or it's something loaded, etc.
Yes, it's so true, because it's that specific snapshot in time, which I just think is. So you can pick any one you want and then inspect that, which I just think is just awesome. I love this action part as well. I completely forgot about that, because debugging can be painful sometimes, and it doesn't need to be with knowing about these features. But I think people try and go straight, myself included, go straight to the code and go, but this should work. I can see this, and why doesn't it work, and so forth. And then if they just load this up with the dash UI, and they can actually see that this dot is clicking on something else, or like you said, underneath something, then it's super, super clear. So
and while you're talking about debugging there, so say if you did have, so here we got installation highlighted, right? Because that's basically the locator that it was finding. But imagine there was an error here. So you could click on the locator picker, which is that little, I don't know what we call this icon. It's like a dartboard icon, like the archery. Can you see that icon?
Oh, here, this one.
Yeah. So if you click on that and then go over to the website, And exactly. And then as you hover over, you can see the locator, the element that you want to locate that element with.
That's so awesome.
And if you click on one of them, so just click on that,
Okay.
it's going to put it into the locator box, right?
So I can actually
Now,
add that to my test.
yeah, but it's also editable, so you could actually modify it right there.
Right.
And
So
you
I
can
can
see it finding it, but if you added something else, it won't find it anymore because you've just like that's not going to. So you can kind of play around and make sure that the actual locator is on the page. It does work, and then you can literally copy it, put it in your code. So it's a really great tool for debugging.
I love that. And I've purposely deleted a lot of the text to have how to. So therefore, I can see if it will pick up more than one. And it does. And it says one of
So the
three,
test
two
would
of
fail.
three. Yeah. So it's two. Sometimes you want to keep the test a bit generic, but sometimes you can go too generic and it doesn't know which one to use. So this is cool. I think people are scared of tests because they're not aware of this. I think this makes it so much easier because I think a failing test is quite hard to debug and fix. And I think that's what slows people down, or what thinks going to slow them down. Because when you've got this visual aspect, you actually see what it's doing before and after in the action. And actually getting I didn't even know about this. And just actually getting a locator, because sometimes people think, oh, what can I use to target this? Do I need to do like, what's that awful thing that we used to do in the past with Selenium, where you have like an XPath, exactly, where it's like half a mile long of like, and you change anything in the HTML and it breaks all the tests. Where
don't use XPath for testing.
Yeah, don't use XPath. But this is great that it's looking for a link and it's looking for this, and it's just makes it so much easier. It's writing the code for us, and
it means like, say you go back to the other DOM snapshot, the first one where it says get started, right? No, the test is right. The actual action, so the action before it, right? So now if you go to that locator picker with get started, and click on that. So click on the locator picker. Yeah. So just hover over get started, and it should come in there, and click on it. Yeah, it's activated, so it's
okay,
perfect. So just this is a perfect scenario. As a person, I would look at that if I was writing code and I would say that was a button. It looks like a button, right?
Mm-hmm.
The designer designed it as a button. But it doesn't do anything, like there's no handle click. It's not a button. It's not a JavaScript button. It's just a link. So we want to make sure it's an accessible link. So when a screen reader reads that out, they're reading a link, not button.
Right.
It's really important.
Yes, it's true. Are there any like add-ons that can be added to help with accessibility, or
so we have the X course. You can use that as well. So you could totally go into that accessibility and kind of full on go into that. But basically what I'm just kind of saying here is that out of the box, we're testing accessibility without you having to even do anything. And you don't have to learn about the accessibility because you can use the locator picker to help you know which is the right accessible role for that element.
I love that. This is super, super exciting. Okay. Can we test our homepage now?
Yes, go for it. There's all other things in there, like the call, the log, the errors, the console, the network, the attachments, but don't worry about all that.
I'll click them. Here we go. Oh, yes, because it's an actual web page, you actually get the entire, the network, which I think is brilliant. Oh, there's so many things to explore. Okay, right. I'm going to close this. Okay, so that was... Sorry, go on.
Technically, if you were a developer, you would never close your interactive mode of developing. You would keep it open. You would have it open on another screen, because when you write a test, that's gonna pop up there, and you can modify it as you go along. But it's fine. You can run it again after we've written the test. That's totally fine. We can leave it closed for now. Okay.
We might need the real estate, or we can open it to the side.
Don't worry, we'll do it later.
Okay.
But now what I want to know is, do you want to start writing a test? And how do you want to start writing your test? Where do you want to start? What's the first test you want to do?
I think we should check the homepage. I was going to cheat and edit the example one, but I have a feeling you're going to get me to do something a lot cooler and funkier.
No, that sounds totally fine. Let's go. Let's go. That's you're just doing something very basic here. So let's go ahead and do that.
So what I would do, I would rename this to like be homepage.
Okay, sounds good.
So rather than the example. And then I would change stuff. I don't know how people in the chat would also do it, but has title. I think that's okay. I keep the test the same. I don't know what my title is. See, this is the thing, right? I might not even have a title.
Exactly. So that's good. You'd find out. Yeah. So let's just put the URL in, right?
Okay. So I'll do localhost, which will be the homepage. Here we go.
And leave Playwright in there and let it fail.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yes. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay. So I've hit save on that. We'll leave Playwright in there. And shall I change this one as well?
Go for it.
And then, okay, I've hit save. Shall I run it? And then do I run it with the UI flag?
I mean, I like to see things unless you want to be blind and just do terminal stuff.
No, let's see it. Okay, we'll make it full screen. Hit play. Or we'll make it a bit bigger actually first.
So we've got homepage.spec. First thing to note that the spec file has changed. So we've seen that change. And we've got like one failed test, which is great.
I'm guessing the second's going to fail. I don't have to get started, but it's waiting though. So I guess it's seeing if the app's loading slowly and stuff like that, which is good.
It's going to like wait a couple of seconds to try and retry it, and it's going to try and find that button because it was a button on the page. It's going to say, is that button ready? Is it in focus? Is it in view? It's like, I can't find it. And then it gives up and says, look, that button I cannot find. Sorry. But it's normal, right? Because you do not have a get started button on your website. So it is going to fail.
Yeah.
So yeah. First test.
Yes. So has title and it couldn't find it.
Exactly. And you've got the log or you've got the errors. They're the two things that you could look at here. And it's basically like telling you, right? It expected Playwright and it got open source GitHub repo Healthcheck.
So I think I will change that to just say Healthcheck, and because this might change and I don't want it to fail every time. So as long as it's got Healthcheck in there, I think I'm happy with that. So I won't close this. Can I go to my ID and change it?
Don't change it yet. I would click on the eye icon to watch for changes so that when you do make the changes, it will rerun.
This one?
Yep. You can watch every test. You can watch just a specific test. So now we're watching all our tests. Okay.
So if I'll make this a bit, I'll just put it over here. I know it's a bit small. Yeah. I'll make it bigger in a second, but just so people can see me changing it. So I'm changing this from Playwright to Healthcheck, and I'm going to hit save. And I think it started rerunning without even me pressing anything. Got you.
Yeah, and it ran both tests, which is probably not what you wanted because now you're waiting for the other test. The other test was failing. So you could have basically only watched that one test that you're working on and then unwatch it. Yeah.
I think what I naturally would do is watch all of them anyway. I don't know why. I'd rather wait a few extra seconds and just to make sure this is passed.
Slow, Eddie. I'd sack you.
I suppose as the tests get as more tests are written.
Yeah, you want to start watch, fix. That's what I would do, because then you're not waiting for something to fail that you already know is failing.
Okay, makes sense. So that's now passed. So we're happy with that. So that's good. And then this one fails. And we go to error and it can't find it.
Exactly.
So we could check for something else.
So you want a locator and it's looking for get by link name get started. So let's just find a locator on the page. So let's just use that locator picker and try and find something that you want to make sure is there. So
okay, so I'm trying to think. I haven't got any links. I've got these links on top, I suppose. So maybe ads an important one. Oh no, this one you said at the top, the banner. Let's start right at the top, I think.
Okay.
So I think check that this works. I think it's an important one.
So you see, this is a link. It looks like a button, but it's a link.
Yeah, it's a trap. Okay, so can I also check the URL it goes to?
Yeah, but first of all, we're getting the element, so we want to get that element. Okay. So let's put that in first, because the next is an assertion, and this is first an action. Okay,
so I'm coming down to this is get started link, so I'm going to change this to get flagsmith link, and then it's going to the correct URL, and I'm going to change this. Should I leave the click on it as well or no?
Yeah, because you want the user to click it, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So you want Playwright to click it.
So I paste that in.
You forgot the page. Remember, the page
Oh,
is your web
yes.
page. It's really important. That's the page fixture.
Yeah, good point. Okay. Let's paste that in. Let me make this a bit wider. Here we go. Okay, so we click it and then expect the page to have a heading with the name of the installation. I have to change these comments in a minute, but for now, I will expect the page to be, it will go to their website. And then heading, I'm guessing, shall we let it fail and then I can inspect it afterwards? What's your recommended workflow?
So in this scenario, because you're doing something different, you're not going to be, unless you want to test that their website has a role of heading with a different name, but you don't care what Fleximate has on that website. You just want to make sure that the URL is there.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of ways, right? You could manually type this in. You could look at the docs and try to find an example and put it in. You could start typing and see what, TypeScript shows you for as you type things in. It will type stuff out. So you can kind of say, expect page, what do I want to do? Whatever. Or you can like code gen and basically like generate it and see what the generator gives you.
Sounds interesting. Let's do code gen.
Okay. So because we have, see, I normally use the VS Code extension. You're not using the VS Code extension. That's totally fine. But you can run it in terminal. You can open CodeGen in the terminal, but you'll need another terminal window unless you want to install the VS Code extension and do it.
I think I have the VS Code extension already. Oh, spelled wrong.
You have to spell it right.
I think I have it installed already. This one.
Excellent. Cool. So then you have a testing icon in your sidebar, in your many things in your sidebar.
Okay, let me just save what I've got so far, and then oh yes, I do. There we go.
So you can see down the bottom here is the Playwright options, right? So we've got if you wanted to run your tests on Chromium, Firefox, WebKit, etc., you've got all that. If you wanted to show the browser, show Trace Viewer, we're using UI mode, so you don't need to do this. But if you showed Trace Viewer, that's your UI mode through the VS Code extension. So that's your way of getting what we just have here. And if you just wanted the browser, the window to pop up really fast and go do in front of your eyes, you could do that. And what we want to do is we want to record. We don't want to record new because we already have our test. We want to record at cursor. So you basically want to put your cursor into where you want it to record. So probably not there.
No, so we'll go back a step. So we'll go back to the website. And then do I hit record? Do I hit record first? Oh, I see what you mean. Where do I want to insert it? Okay, so there.
Exactly. And you could delete that other expect because that makes no sense to you.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's do that.
So we want to finish this test. So we're going to record at cursor.
Record. Yep. Okay. So record at cursor.
Yeah.
Oh, this is another window. It's looking good.
Now you need to put in the URL because it doesn't know what URL you want to test. It doesn't know. You've got to tell it. Now, that we could have run the test first and then it would have been open on this, but it doesn't matter. It's going to give us some extra code. We can delete it. Totally fine.
Okay.
So
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Right. But later we'll delete that. That's fine. And then we can click on that button.
Okay. Oh, it's even said wait for a pop-up event. Okay, because I would have probably not coded that, maybe had a race condition or it wouldn't have worked. So it's filled in that massive gap in my knowledge, which I need to learn more about, but it's done that already. Okay, so I see that wait for event. Awesome. So, okay.
Because you're going to somewhere else, you're going to, because you have it as not an external, like another tab, you're basically in the same. So that's why it's testing it this way, right? If you were going into another URL, you would get another page. So basically you've got page one promise, page wait for the event pop up, and then get by role link, name visit their website.click. And then page one equals await, page one at promise. So it's giving you some extra stuff because of how you've basically built this. Now, the only thing is that what we can't generate is URLs because that's not really, it's not part
of the web page.
Exactly. So we can't just go into the URL bar. See, I'm kind of tricking you here by making you do all this, but just so that you can see that the generator will generate stuff for you, but you also do have to do depending on what you want to do. Now,
Sure.
just out of fun here, if you then clicked on something inside this website for
Maybe this
whatever
one.
reason, yeah, right? It's now saying get by role heading, name, ship faster, and control.click. Now you clicked on that, right?
Yeah.
Now, again, we're not writing a test here. We're doing stupid stuff, but it'll give you an idea then to go back on your own website and do it. But there's a little toolbar at the very, very top,
Oh, yes.
right? So you wanted to basically say, no, the next one over is the eye icon. And now if you want to assert for visibility, so if you click on that
Okay.
and then go click on that ship faster and control releases, blah, blah,
Yeah.
right? Watch what comes up. Await, expect. Page 1, get by role, heading, name, ship
Got
faster,
you.
control to be visible. Now, we did say that's not what we want to test because we don't care about what their title is and stuff, but just to kind of show you how the generator works, okay? So
Yeah,
basically,
makes sense.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm going ahead. I was just hovering the next one. Sorry,
you could still like just keep clicking and just click around and like just I always say click and have fun with something. Test something out by just clicking everything. Look at the code, look at what was created, and then basically say, right, now I get a feel for the tool. Now I'm going to go and test my website because now I'm more confident and I know what I can do with it.
It's true. You're right. Going and having a kind of a play and a click around is so important because I just saw now it's done. You know, before it was checking is it visible, and now it's doing checking the. Is the text the same? No, the text is different. This is checking
to contain the text exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And maybe you just want it to contain the text, ship faster, and forget the rest because that could change every day or something.
Yes,
right?
That's true. Okay, so when we're finished, or is there anything else you want to show? I was going to ask what would be the next step afterwards.
Yeah, no, that was just me kind of like jumping into a different to show you that. But basically, to have URL is what you want to await, expect to have URL, and then that URL. So we're going to have to manually type that because we can't generate that.
That's okay. Should I close this browser?
Yes, you can close the code gen.
Okay. So, I moved my cursor. That's my fault.
Yeah.
Okay. So, shall we? I can delete this one.
Yeah.
And
you can delete most of that, and just go back to kind of you want one expect because you're going to do that yourself, and you want to await expect instead of get by role heading because you don't want that, but you want page 1 and just remove everything. I think more or less.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah. And then let's see if it gives you some extra things.
Wait for URL?
No, you don't want to wait for URL. You have expect, put a 2. Normally it's like expect to be, expect to.
Okay. Is that on the page 1?
No. The expect is already there. Your expect is already there.
Oh, yeah, because you're wrapping it in the expect. Yes, you're right.
You want to do page 1 and then .2.
Oh, it's in 2. Sorry. Yeah. Okay.
And then is there anything coming there to have? Let's have a look.
No.
Doesn't really give you much here.
But it is page 1. Is that the correct one, not page? Is that because we've got
we've gone to that extra page? But let's you see, I don't know off the top of my head. So you could just open the docs and basically look at that. But it should be like something like to have URL, or use a search and kind of put to have URL and see what comes up. These are assertions.
Here we go. Okay, expect page. Oh, sorry, I'm missing a bracket. Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
See, docs are so important.
So now it should. Yes. Now you go. You see? You have it. Your text so super small. I'm kind of like
I'm so sorry. Like sorry. No, thanks for mentioning. Okay, so hopefully that's bigger.
Better.
Remove that. So to have text, we will have in here in the URL. It was Flagsmith. There we go. I'll remove the HTTP, I think, and just have the .com in there, like so. Okay, and then the bit above it, so we can remove the header, I think. I don't think we need that.
Exactly.
I think we can go to use page. We don't think we need page 1, do we? Or do we need to wait for a pop-up?
We can just remove all that and test it out and see what happens. You know what I mean?
We could. Oh, I'm nervous now. Wait for where did page one come from?
No,
Okay,
let's just
no.
delete it.
Just
Delete it. Delete it.
delete it. Okay.
Let's delete it. Delete the promise.
Delete this as well. Okay.
Yeah, delete
And
that.
this.
And then no.
Did I go too much? I got too excited.
Yeah. You deleted the link.
Oh yes, we need that. We need to click that. That's true. So
All
okay,
right.
those
And
two I
then
can delete.
and now you want to change your page 1 to page because that's the page that you're testing. So let's see what happens. And if that doesn't work, then you really need the pop-up, right? So let's go and press play.
Okay.
And
oh, I closed it. Silly me. I didn't need
See?
to close it. Yes, I could have just pressed play. Okay.
well, you were watching it, so it would have just watched.
Yeah.
It would have just done it.
I'm too many bad. Too big. Too many bad habits just to close stuff and start again.
So the first one has passed.
Yes.
So you're good.
It's good.
And you can always see the log if you were kind of like unsure. Did that really do what I wanted to do? And you can kind of like go into that and locate a result too, and look at the source code and et cetera, et cetera.
No errors. It's good. And you get the console log, which I think is great because it tells you if there's anything not quite right, which I think is important. Okay. And then to the second one. It's because it didn't wait for the pop-up, I think, maybe? Because we need the second tab to open.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So the second one failed. Exactly. So it expected a flagsmith, and it received that because it didn't go to that other page because Playwright didn't know that you didn't put this as a new tab. Your website. Yes. And you can see right here how it's kind of like it's two separate pages.
Yes,
right. So we need to tell it you are going to a different page.
Right. Okay, it makes sense. It's great that you can see the overlaps. You can see it did open here, but the focus was still on the original one. So, okay, it makes sense. So in here,
that's why page and page 1. So let's go back and go if you can do like exactly.
Was there any more? No, this one we don't need because that was.
So you want to remove the page go to because you're already going to that.
Oh yes, that's true. So we can glitch that one. Then it waits for pop up. And then we click on the link. So it's actually to this link. I think this link isn't needed, right? This one at the end because we got it twice. Do we need it before the pop up because they will wait for the pop up afterwards?
I don't know. Let's have a look. Like delete one, test it out. Delete one, see what happens.
Okay, let's have a look. So we have a few people in chat. Thanks for your support, Shushant. Hope I pronounced your name okay. How's it going so far? Praduma, I think we're getting there. I've forgotten so much of what I learned for Playwright back in the day, so now I need to get back into it. But it's really, really fun. I'm going to use the force, and I think we don't need this one.
All right.
But Debbie's better at me than. Oh wait, you can see it's already restarted and rerun it. So I think Debbie's going to be right though. I don't trust myself. Let's have a look. Oh, it passed. Yes. No, wait a second. But
does it look right?
No. It's.
Where's your actions? What's happening in your actions? What did you do? You went to go to page, and so go down to your actions bar.
Oh yeah, you can sit down here. Yes. Okay. So
and go up a little bit to the, So you got the first action. What's the next action you did? Is you clicked on that.
Button. Yep.
Then you waited for an event.
Yes.
And then you expect that the URL is there. And can you see what's the URL in that DOM snapshot? Can you make that DOM snapshot bigger so we can all see it?
Oh no, it didn't get any bigger. How can I make it bigger?
You can just drag and drop parts of it, or you can pop it out. Do you remember I told you about popping out?
Oh yes, this one. Here we go. Okay, here we go.
And that doesn't pop it out very well to the URL.
No, okay. Well, it says it is the website. It is https www.flagsmith.com.
Exactly, and you can see that in the log and in the call as well. So you could also see that we're just basically, is it the log? No, the call, I think. Yeah. So there you go. Expected text flagsmith and received flagsmith.com. So basically, what's happening here is because we're not waiting for that pop up to load. We're just hitting the URL and there's nothing else being tested on that website. So it's basically I hit it, I did my job, I finished, I'm going home.
Got
right?
you.
And the JavaScript and the CSS hasn't loaded, and the JavaScript and CSS is saying, hang on a minute, I want to make the page beautiful. And Playwright's done, I don't care about being beautiful. This works. This is all I had to do. That's all I was asked to test. So I'm finished. I'm gone. And that's why you're not seeing it.
Right. Okay.
And just out of curiosity, if you wanted to, you could click the button, you know, after the wait for event and see what happens. Just
Okay.
change the links, just for out of curiosity.
And what? Uncomment out this one?
Exactly.
Okay.
And this is what CodeGen gave you, right? So we're going back to what CodeGen gave us. What is the difference in here? So there's basically no real difference, right?
No, there isn't.
So you can choose where to put that. But before, you saw 2 timelines because you opened that link, but you still were able to test on the other website. You were still testing on the other website.
Got you. Okay.
Which basically meant if you wanted to do, I don't know, a wait page, get by role link, and put it down under it, you could still click on other things because you might want to be testing a chat application or a team player game, one player against the other player and stuff. So you can do all that kind of things.
Oh, interesting. Okay, this is getting even more exciting. I definitely got a lot of bedtime reading through the docs tonight.
Yeah.
And we've been going for an hour and
already, oh my God.
Already it's gone so fast. So I think we should have some closing notes from Debbie, as in maybe some resources that you recommend and what we should do next in the, you know, for when I say we, I mean kind of me and Eddie Hub, like what you recommend doing next.
I would say right now, just before we go, just really quickly, let's go and do a record new from the VS Code extension. So you got your testing toolbar thing there, and you're going to do record new from the button down here.
Okay.
And this is going to open up that browser window. You're going to put in your URL, which is localhost 3000.
Yeah.
And we're just going to, we know what we're doing now. So what is that user flow that we talked about at the start that we wanted to test?
The one with the form.
Add the website. Yeah, the one with the form. Exactly. So you want to go click that, and you want to go and add in a URL.
ls github.com/eddiehub community/healthcheck. Yep, and that was it. And hit save. I can see the test writing on the right hand side. And now we're at the page, and let's check that we've got.
Remember your little toolbar, so you want to use that for testing. You want to click on that. You want to test visibility. Exactly. So you're using your assertions here, and you want to assert that is there rather than clicking. Before we didn't have this option, and you had to click it and then manually modify it. And now we're giving you that you can generate those assertions.
Got you. Okay. Yes. And so now I can check that it contains Eddie Hub Community Biodrop.
So now that is one test. I think that's kind of enough just here. You could stop the generator and you could press play and see if that works.
So close that, hit save on this. And then, it's added another test already without even me refreshing it or doing anything.
Yeah. And then click on that test called test and you can see your user flow, right?
Right.
So we went through a lot of stuff to kind of like just to understand stuff, but look how easy really it was to just actually do that. We didn't have to learn anything. We didn't have to have gone through all that process. We could have just opened and used the tools and used the website as a user, and we could have got that test from the start in 2 minutes, and the stream would have been finished and everyone would have been really bored. And that's why I went through the whole process of making it more difficult for you so that, you know.
So I can feel the pain and feel how amazing a tool like this is, because you're right. It's literally gone through that flow in not even in 2 minutes, in like 20 seconds.
Exactly. And just because we're here and we're going to do it extended for another minute, and you're going to go and write another test, Eddie, another test. So just go, just to record new. It'll do another page, but later you can put things in different pages.
Yes.
And you want to go to that website again, and you want to go to that add button.
Yes.
And you want to put in la 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 la.
Oh yes, la la la.
And you want to press save. And then you want to assert that red text of whatever it says is there.
Assert text. Do I need to inspect?
Whatever, assert or.
Like, do I pick locator or just
no, the visibility or the assert text, either one of those.
Okay.
And you want to assert that's there, and you can see that's editable. So you could have edited that if you wanted to.
Yes,
maybe
that's
just
true.
Want, instead of invalid, maybe URL you didn't want because maybe that will change. You just want invalid, etc. Now there's your test. Go and run that.
Okay, so if I close this and then save this and then come over here. It will pick it up automatically. You can see test
Yep.
2's appeared. And
There
it's
you go.
done
2
it as
tests in
well.
seconds.
Wow. And there's no excuse for people not having tests. You can see here, I typed in la 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 la, and then we get the invalid URL, and we check that it didn't move on to the next page because we got
And
an
you
error
see
and it
how
stopped.
we're not getting red and then making it green. We're doing what a user would do. A user might get it wrong, so we get it wrong to make the test pass, but we're not making the test fail. We're making the test pass by doing the things wrong that the user might do, by testing those edge cases.
That is so true. Wow. Okay. Massive eye opener. Definitely need to allocate a little bit of time, not a lot of time, as we've just saw. We've literally just in, less than 10% of the live stream have done 2 new tests. And so it's one of those things, I think, when you know how, it becomes a lot easier. And so, big shout out to Debbie for taking us through this. And I'm just going to get your Twitter and just drop it in the chat. But everyone is in the description below.
While you're doing that, I'll just say, like, Eddie at the start of this basically sent me, a link to VS Code. He's like, right, Debbie, you're going to be coding as well. And I'm in the back of my mind going, yeah, Eddie, that's not going to happen. But I'm not going to tell him that. Right?
It's true, I did. And if we look at VS Code, you can even see, like, in live, where is it gone? Where's the live thing? It actually has got Debbie, had Debbie connected. I don't know if she's left now, but she's there. Yeah, Debbie was connected. I was like, it's going to be easy live stream for me. Debbie's going to
test live code. No, you use the tools to make your life easier. That's why they're built.
So true, so true. And I mean, what an eye opener it has been, and hopefully to everyone else watching as well. On we should test the apps, and we should test it as the user. And like you said, these tools really help us to do it. Debbie, do you have any events, live streams coming up that you want people to go and check out? Do let us know. I can bring it up on the window as well.
I would say definitely follow the Playwright channels. You'll find that at the Playwright docs. You'll find the YouTube link at the very, very bottom in the footer. And basically just follow us, subscribe to that channel, because we do a lot of live events on there as well. And we do the release videos, and we're also in Discord. We have a Discord server. You'll find the link at the top of the documentation. Join our server. There's about 12,000 members in there already. So really, really cool. And a lot of people are sharing links and videos, and we do happy hour in there as well. So we kind of just chat with the community and get community members up on the stage for them to share their kind of like what they're doing and stuff. So it's really cool. We're all happy.
No, that sounds great. And you can see I'm already subscribed, but I'm going to join your Discord. I don't think I'm in your Discord, so I'm going to join that because that sounds great. It's really awesome to see how other people kind of test their projects and some of the challenges they have. And it's such a great way to I think, to learn and improve on kind of other people's projects as well. So this has been amazing, Debbie. I cannot thank you enough. I know it was last minute. I literally, like a few days ago, I said, Debbie, can you join me on a live stream? We need to add testing to an app. And what's the best way to learn is to do it with an expert. So Debbie, thank you so much for last minute.
And I didn't even do anything, right? I just told you to click a button.
But that's you did so much. It's funny. It's not like how much. A lot of people think it's how much someone, I guess, codes. It's not. It's that people can just help in so many. I know you could have coded this a lot faster than I did, but now I won't forget, because if you did the coding and I was busy looking at the chat, I would have walked away from the live stream going, "How did Debbie do that?" Yes, exactly. But now I've done it, so hopefully I can remember. I'm actually going to spend the rest of the evening now playing with this a bit more.
And you'll have more tests written in a second. You'll be like, "Oh my god, I can test this. I'm going to test this. I'm going to test the menu. I'm going to test the footer. I'm going to."
Exactly. Exactly. I can't wait. We got the GitHub Action Create as well, so I'm going to commit and push that up as well. So
and then it will just run that automatically every time you make those changes on codes. They're just, those tests are constantly going to be run on CI for you with no effort, nothing else. It just works.
I love it. Just works. That's what we like. That's what we like. Debbie, thank you so much again. Really, really appreciate it. And I know the Eddie Hub community really appreciates it as well. Thank you so much for joining today.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching.
And have a great week. I'm going to just bring up the holding page for a few seconds, and then I'm going to thank you personally, Debbie, if you can hang on for an extra minute. If not, don't worry. Everyone, I will see you in the Eddie Hub or the Playwright Discord, and I look forward to geeking out. So thank you, Debbie. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.